Hello and welcome to my review of the Necron Warriors. Now you can buy this set separately for £22, and it's worth mentioning that it comes with 3 Scarab Swarm bases, well 3 sets of Scarabs, or you can get it in the Start Collecting box set for £50. So that means that you're essentially getting all of the other components in the set for £28. So it's a pretty good deal. One thing to note though is these models are old. Very old. Much prefer the Immortals, which I'll show you some size comparisons of in a little while, but they're very old set of miniatures, plenty of mould lines in places, not much posability, and they require kind of like a 2-step process in terms of completing them. What I mean by that is you'll typically construct all of these models, and then after you've sprayed them and painted them, the final step is to insert these rods. Now you just put a little bit of PVA glue on either end, and they just slot in there like so, and it really finishes the models off. So that's kind of like the final stage. So you're going to have to, you know, keep hold of these rods somewhere quite safe. The good news is obviously these are Necrons. They're not difficult to paint. You know, a good spray of lead belcher, a shade of Nuln Oil and a dry brush of Necron compound, and then picking out some of the details and things, and you're good to go. They're one of the quickest armies to get set up and ready. I will be picking up a kind of lead belt to spray at the Warhammer Fest. Fingers crossed that it's a good batch. I have had some dodgy batches before, so fear not, I will be doing a painting guide for these miniatures, well, for Necrons in general really. So I just thought I'd mention that. The models themselves, they go together fine. The legs are in one pose. The chest piece and backs are 2 pieces, and you glue them together, and then the arm is connected to the gun, and the other arm isn't, so you have to, you know, fiddle about with positioning that. The heads, you can sort of pose them a bit, but the way the neck joint is, in a way it's almost like the neck joint should be on the back, because there's nothing to kind of support the, you know, the back of the skull, if that makes sense. So it kind of looks like they're, you know, have got more support, you know, under the chin, that part. But other than that, they go together quite well. They're on the, you know, the 32mm bases. You know, you're not going to have too many issues with them. There are some mould lines and things on the guns that are a bit, you know, annoying, but other than that, they'll go together fine, and you can pump a load of these out. You know, you get 12 of them, and you get those Scarabs too. You should be able to add these to your Necron force relatively quickly. Okay, let's do some size comparisons. We'll start off with some Necron size comparisons first. Now, these are the typical sort of Necron Immortals here, and I much prefer these guys because of their bigger shoulders, bigger chest pieces, just their bigger weapons. They've definitely got more of a presence, but they are the same height, if you want to look at it that way. Yes, the Immortals are newer models. You can make 3 different kits out of the set, whereas the Warriors, this is it. This is just the kit you can make with their standard weapons. Next to the Lich Guard. The Lich Guard are slightly taller, I want to say, if you can see that, only because of their headdresses, but the Lich Guard have got more of an upright kind of pose anyway. And then next to a Necron Lord. Lord does tower above them a little bit. I mean, you're definitely going to spot the Lord in amongst some Warriors. Just for size comparison purposes, I'll just put a Necron Wraith in there, so it gives you an idea of how big these Wraiths are compared to your, you know, your standard troop choices. And finally, I'll just show you some size comparisons with typical Space Marines. Just lower the camera down for this one then. So they are taller than your normal Space Marines. All of them are, I say, lankier. They're skinnier, taller than the standard sort of Space Marines. But the Primaris are taller now than your Necron Warriors. Next to the Skitarii, it's a similar story. You know, they're still taller than normal Skitarii. That's the Vanguard, those ones. So yeah, Necrons tower above Skitarii and Space Marines, but not the Primaris. Hope those size comparisons help. Okay, now this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Necron warriors. You'll find them in your brand new 2018 Necrons Codex under troop choices. There are only 2 troop choices in the whole book for the army, and that is the Necron Warriors, which you see in front of you, and the Immortals. The Necron Warriors cost 6 power points, or match play points cost of 12 points per model. The Gauze Flayers, which are their main weapons, don't cost any points, so they are just 12 points each. So their stat line, their movement is 5 inches, typical for most Necron units. Weapon skill and ballistic skill is 3+, it's very decent. Strength and toughness is 4, that's decent. 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership of 10, and a save of 4+. So that's I'd say that's an above average stat line for normal standard troop choice. The unit contains 10 Necron warriors, and it may include up to 10 additional Necron warriors. Each model is armed with a Gauze Flayer. So you can have 20 of these warriors in one unit if you wish. Obviously the set comes with 12, probably back when the unit size was 12, or you could have 12. So if you wanted to go match play wise, so you could have 12 and that would cost you 144 points, or just remove 2 and then have them a power points cost of a 6. Hope that sort of makes sense. Their Gauze Flayers then, they're the main weapon that they're equipped with. They don't have any other close combat weapons or anything like that, despite these little scythe things on the tips. The range is 24 inches, rapid fire 1, strength 4, AP -1 and damage 1. So I think that's the same as a bolt gun, I think. So, if you've got 12 of them and they're within the 12-inch range, then you're going to be pumping out 24 shots if you've got 12 of them. The only ability that they have is reanimation protocols, which of course, should know by now, but if you lose any units the next turn, you can roll a dice and they can basically come back to life. The keywords is Necrons, Dynasty, Infantry and Warriors. And that's it. They're the kind of standard troop choices for Necrons. I do prefer the Necron Immortals just from model wise, and they're better save of a 3+, and they're better weapons. But nonetheless, you can have 20, you can have 40 Necron Warriors all creeping across the board, using those reanimation protocols, getting in rapid fire range, quite relentless, and they've got a decent toughness, decent save. They're going to be able to pump out a fair bit of shots as soon as they get there. Great for contesting objectives too. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Necron Warriors. Quite a short review for you today. What do you guys think? Do you prefer them to Immortals even? Please do put it in the comments below. If you always pack Necron Warriors, it'd be great to hear from you as always. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. All hail the machine.